Special since it gobbles up great numbers of the more irritating insects, chiefly flies. The fallacy persists that turtles, when placed on their backs, are unable to turn themselves over. But as you see, they can. There's a spruce tree at the edge of the pond, and on an overhanging branch you'll see the nest of the kingbird. The parent kingbirds are perched on the branch of a neighboring tree, ready to swoop at passing insects for their newly hatched brood. While the mother bird feeds her family delicious morsels of dragonfly, the male stays on guard to fight off any larger birds that appear to threaten their safety. After wintering in Florida, chipping sparrows return to their northern homes in early spring to eat up weed seeds and tiny tent caterpillars, which makes them very popular with the farmers. The best known and most appealing of all our shorebirds, we think, is the friendly little sandpiper. The babies are as soft and downy as Easter chicks, and even tinier. The young ones leave the nest almost as soon as they're hatched. Still feeble on their legs, they begin their carefree life of chasing along through the shallow waters to catch insects, cheeping with delight as they go. New England days grow longer now, and summer comes to the pond. But spring is never really over. Another year, another spring, and spring is the beginning of many things.
Now Kodak, through photography, brings you this edition of the Screen
In about
News
2 seconds,
Digest.
we'll have them on the screen. I don't think many of us realize the years of skill and labor that go into the making of fine ware. So, for a permanent record, I took this film as I went through the...
Chaos. It's all chaos now. 1 second. Chaos. Chaos. Alright. Chaos. Okay. I think I figured this out. Hi, I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And I would say that I move this over a little bit more so it's not so claustrophobic. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so I think I got the thing migrating over to the next, to where everything's happening on one computer. I was having problems with it wasn't playing the audio right for the 24-hour stream, so I stopped that until I could figure it out. Today, also, G-Fiber was digging in my yard today, but I don't know what the deal is. Like, I'm still hooked up to that block and a half long fiber cable, so, you know, maybe they'll come back and they'll hook it up. I don't know. Hopefully it won't be during this show, but there you go. Okay. Got some stuff to watch today. I'm going to start off with some songs. Sing along if you know. Oh, wait a minute. That's not right. Hold on. Anyways, this is not correct. Let me change it. It's Beyond the Blue Horizon. Enjoy.
Beyond the blue horizon waits a beautiful day. life has only begun. Beyond the blue horizon lies a setting sun. Beyond the blue horizon waits a beautiful day. Goodbye to things that bore me. Joy is waiting for me. I see a new horizon. My life has only begun. Beyond the blue horizon lies a setting sun. Jump, my heart, jump through the rain. Dance if she happens to sing. At the crack of the whip, do a hop and a skip. Jump, my heart, jump through the rain. Run to the sound of her voice. Dance to the tune of her choice. If you can't break away, then you'll have to obey. Jump, my heart, jump through the ring. Whenever she calls, rush to her side. Throw to the wind what's left of her pride. And laugh, my heart, laugh when she clowns. You cry like a fool when she frowns. You're in love, pay the cost, for without her you're lost. Jump, my heart, jump through the rain. Whenever she calls, rush to her side. Throw to the wind what's left of your pride. And laugh, my heart, laugh when she clowns. You cry like a fool when she frowns. If you can't break away, then you'll have to obey. Jump, my heart, jump through the rain.
All right, it was a little abbreviated, but man, that guy can sing. But I don't think he can lip sync very well. So who knows what process took place to get the music synced. It's very possible that he was singing to something, they filmed it, then they synced it up to something else that was playing at a different speed, or who knows. I know you have a lot of questions about net fishers. This is a different type of net. Or is it?
The picturesque country of Mexico, our nearest neighbor to the south, is comprised of 24 states and 2 territories, many of them differing greatly from each other in scenery, population, and the occupations of their people. One of the most beautiful of the Mexican states is Michoacan, a high mountain country which is the home of Lake Patzcuaro and the Tarascan Indians who dwell on its banks and islands in some dozen or more native villages. Although the Tarascans know and work at many handicrafts, their main occupation is fishing for the small, sweet, white fish with which the lake abounds, as well as the marketing of their catches in the very old town of Patzcuaro. One of the most ancient of these Indian towns, San Jeronimo, may be approached only by water or over a long foot trail down a steep mountainside from the Guadalajara Highway. We can see the pretty church spire of San Jeronimo from here. Nowhere in Mexico does the scenery excel in beauty, that of this lovely lake region. In fact, a scenic background equal to San Jeronimo's would bring the greatest premiums in our own country. Though they know little of the outside world, the boys of San Jeronimo are a gay, sociable lot. And they are rollicking home from school this afternoon in high good humor. Most of their fathers' huts are on the lake shore, close to their boats and fish nets, and these children have been brought up literally on the lake's edge. One of their ringleaders in fun and enterprise is Benino Madrigal, who has lived in this simple little community all his 13 years and is an accomplished fisherman like his father and grandfathers before him. Decked out in a glorious red and black serape, of which he is very proud, he leaves his friends and drops over the typical rock wall to the lakeside. Benino has his own canoa, which he made himself, and now that he is free of lessons for the rest of the day, he will go out on the lake in it to join the male members of his family at their daily work. These little boats are very heavy because they are constructed, or rather dug, out of solid pine logs. Benino's father found the tree from which the lad has fashioned his canoa more than 20 miles back in the high mountains and transported it home with the aid of burros. Pushing out to the fishing grounds, Benino smiles goodbye to his mother and baby sister, busily engaged with the family laundry on the shore. The tiniest girls are taught to be useful at this sort of work, and though it seems heavy for a 5-year-old, small Graciela has no difficulty whatever in efficiently handling her share of the responsibility for the weekly wash. As a matter of fact, she obviously finds all this quite enjoyable. All the boys of Lake Patzcuaro are expert boatmen, and in fact they have no other means of transportation than the dugouts, which they employ as the quickest way to reach distant points on their big lake, which is 52 kilometers or 30 miles in circumference. Here Benino's father and his companions are working with their nets, making a graceful picture against the water. The catches are not always large, and the fish themselves are quite small, but by diligence and skill, the Tarascans manage to keep their section of Mexico supplied with a great sufficiency of the delicate fish, which, together with corn, forms the main diet of the natives of this area. The work of handling the nets is very picturesque to watch, but it is hard labor, and by late afternoon the fishers are quite content to pull themselves into shore for rest and for the refreshments brought down to them from San Jeronimo by their womenfolk. Very early every Friday morning, a strange sight is to be encountered on Lake Patzcuaro. First, one or two rather large dugout craft appear in the distance, coming from one of the villages, perhaps from San Jeronimo or even Janitzio, a well-known island fishing village. And as they pull into the pier of the town of Patzcuaro, we see that the Indian families in the boats must be coming in to sell their fish. For here are their baskets containing many fine specimens, clean, fresh, and tempting. It is the catch of the last day or two, and if these Tarascans can dispose of 3 fish or even more for 5 cents, they will be quite content. And now it is clear that this really is a special occasion, for here come more and more boats as the morning grows a bit later, and we see that all these people are approaching Patzcuaro with their fish simultaneously, which means that today is market day in the biggest of the lake pueblos. The whole adjacent population is accustomed to head this way on market day to trade, gossip, and do its sightseeing. The Mexican market, you must know, is far more important to the Indian than the mere opportunity to conduct his simple business. It is his entire social and public life, and he would not sell you a single fish now before arriving in the marketplace, even if you were to offer him 4 prices. And if you ask him why not, he would answer, "But, senor, if I sell you my fish here and now, then I have no reason to go to market." And it is the market itself that is important. There he meets his friends, exchanges news, goes to church to pray for good fishing and good crops, and altogether has the most enjoyable and profitable day of his long, simple, hard-working week. Here, with their babies and many household effects, the Tarascans arrive in large numbers. They pay a centavo a day to park their canoas, and this also entitles them to check their palos or round paddles at the little shack run by enterprising townsmen on the dock. These palos are used by every Indian on Patzcuaro, and so far as we could learn, nowhere else in Mexico. And here it is, Patzcuaro Marketplace, scene of several thousand Tarascans in festive mood. This is one of the oldest markets in Mexico. Fish is the predominant merchandise, and one wonders who buys it, since everyone seems to have it already. But the townspeople and merchants from other villages are good customers, as are the tourist hotels and upper-class Creole Mexicans who have summer homes on the lake. This woman is selling several varieties of fish, including those mere morsels that she has roasted before leaving home. They make excellent impromptu lunches for the busy traders. Everything needful to the fisherman farmer is also found in Patzcuaro Market. Nets and baskets occupy a great deal of market space, as is natural in such a setting. An old woman pauses to drink. And to fill her earthen jar. Nearby, a pretty Tarascan girl waits for a customer to buy her caged birds. These market scenes could be typical of any Mexican town, but here, life is actually based on the economy of the little white fish of Lake Patzcuaro. And everywhere tribute is paid to the fish, symbol of the life work of the Tarascan. This fountain reflects in stone the pattern of Patzcuaro's colorful but primitive existence. You probably will be surprised to know that the building at the top of the hill once housed San Nicolas, first university to be founded on the American continent. In 1541 it was established here, and from here it looked down this quaint street onto the Patzcuaro marketplace for many years, or until it was moved to Morelia, capital of the state of Michoacan. One cannot imagine the Tarascans without their lake. Young Benino will live and work and die beside it, very likely, for the natives of this region do not care to tear themselves away from its spell. As for us, we can only admire and envy them their beautiful lake, the highlight of Michoacan.
All right, it's hilarious what my hair is doing. So let's see. We've seen foreign language films in French, Spanish. Did we show a German one? Because we have some German ones. I can't remember if we showed a German one. But here's Italian. Panorama Italiano. This is episode 593. Enjoy.
Benvenuti amici anche a questa edizione di Panorama Italiano. Venerdì 1 luglio l'ingranaggio delle riforme sociali in corso nel nostro paese ha compiuto un altro scatto. Si è conclusa infatti una fase durata oltre 30 anni relativa all'assistenza sanitaria, affidata finora ad enti mutualistici vari che gradualmente, ma in tempi relativamente brevi, si amalgameranno e si trasformeranno per volere del Parlamento in servizio sanitario nazionale. La legge relativa è stata appena varata dal Senato ed il primo passo è stato il trasferimento della gestione delle mutue alle regioni di competenza. Tra le innovazioni apportate dalla nuova legge, una convenzione unica nazionale per i medici mutualistici, i quali potranno esercitare entro certi limiti la libera professione, godranno di un trattamento economico differenziato a seconda della qualità e della quantità delle prestazioni, ma non potranno avere in carico più di un certo numero di assistiti. Quest'ultimo dettaglio per garantire appunto a vantaggio di tutti i cittadini un rapporto ottimale medico-pazienti. Tutti questi provvedimenti anticipano su un piano concreto e immediato il varo di una generale riforma sanitaria da tempo allo studio e all'esame del Parlamento. E passiamo ora alla consueta selezione di notizie filmate, cominciando dal varo di una nave in un cantiere genovese, un momento dopo tutto sempre emozionante.
Un cantiere completamente ristrutturato per la costruzione di navi che si qualificano come la sintesi più efficace di tutti i recenti ritrovati della tecnica. Questo, il cantiere deriva Tregoso dei cantieri navali riuniti, 2000 operai e lavoro assicurato per più di 4 anni. 3 navi sugli scali, il Perseo per la Marina Militare Italiana di cui vediamo la parte prodiera e quella poppiera, una seconda nave per la Marina Peruviana e la fregata missilistica Sagittario pronta a scendere in mare. Lunga 113 metri, ha un dislocamento di 2400 tonnellate e un apparato motore atto ad imprimerle una velocità di 35 nodi. Il Sagittario scende sullo scalo verso il mare, salutato dal fischio delle sirene del cantiere. Un saluto augurale che nei prossimi mesi si ripeterà più volte, grazie alle commesse acquisite sia per conto della Marina Militare Italiana, in base al piano di rinnovamento della flotta, sia per conto di varie marine di paesi dell'America Latina. Proprio sullo scalo lasciato libero dal Sagittario, infatti, la prossima nave che sarà costruita è destinata alla Marina venezuelana. Il Vesuvio fa parte del panorama di Napoli. È per tanta gente in ogni parte del mondo un soggetto di fotografie e cartoline illustrate. Per i napoletani, un oggetto di casa. Ma c'è anche chi vede il Vesuvio come quel grandioso fenomeno geologico che veramente è, come un mostro dormiente ed in un certo senso addomesticato, che però va tenuto d'occhio e trattato con attenzione e rispetto. Ecco perché vulcanologi di tutta Europa si sono riuniti a congresso a Napoli, nel Maschio Angioino, per fare un po' il punto sul Vesuvio e su tutte le zone vulcaniche della Campania. Diciamo subito che le conclusioni sono state tranquillizzanti. Il Vesuvio attraversa un periodo di quiete simile a quello assai lungo che precedette le grandi attività eruttive del secolo XVII. Ciò non toglie che delle incognite della zona vulcanica si debba tener conto nella programmazione del territorio, frenando e controllando l'espansione urbanistica. Si può costruire vicino al vulcano, ma si deve sapere costruire senza offendere la natura. Lo ha detto uno dei più esperti vulcanologi del mondo, quel Taziev, noto come l'uomo che scende nei vulcani dopo aver visto diapositive che mostrano il gran numero di costruzioni nuove sulle pendici del Vesuvio. Nell'osservatorio vesuviano una fitta rete di apparecchi che hanno la loro centrale 30 metri sottoterra sorveglia le zone vulcaniche della Campania. Vi giungono i più fievoli segni di attività dell'Epomeo, del Vulture, della Rocca Monfina, dei Campi Flegrei. Non sono passati inosservati il terribile terremoto del Friuli e neanche quello dei Balcani e dell'Asia centrale. Ogni anno sulla Terra ci sono 50 eruzioni vulcaniche. Per fortuna solo una ogni 100 ha conseguenze micidiali. Ciò consente una certa tranquillità, ma non autorizza a prendersi troppe confidenze neanche con un apparente bonaccione come il nostro Vesuvio.
Il premio letterario Viareggio è giunto quest'anno alla 48esima edizione. Si può perciò affermare che ha fatto da specchio con le sue affermazioni, le sue battaglie, le sue polemiche a mezzo secolo di vita italiana. Lo confermano i premi assegnati quest'anno per la narrativa, la saggistica e la poesia. Premi andate ad opere e personaggi in vario modo rappresentativi della cultura e della problematica contemporanea.
Per la narrativa, Davide Laiolo è prevalso nell'ambito di una cinquina di finalisti comprendente Carlo Cassola, Pietro Buttita, Luigi Meneghello e Marina Iarre, con il libro autobiografico L'erba dalla parte delle radici, che si potrebbe dire un compendio di tutta la sua opera narrativa. C'è la crisi tra fascismo e comunismo, c'è l'amore per la poesia ed è un libro perennemente attraversato dalla morte, ma ciò nonostante in fondo ottimista. Insegna che vive chi vuole vivere, che si deve e può essere felici. Anche per la poesia la scelta non è stata facile. Erano in gara alcuni dei libri più belli della stagione. Ha vinto Tommaso Landolfi con la raccolta Il tradimento. A Cesare Brandi è andato il premio maggiore della saggistica per i suoi scritti sull'arte contemporanea, tra cui uno fondamentale su Burri. Per le opere prime il Viareggio 77 ha premiato Giuliana Morandini per il saggio E allora mi sono rinchiusa, allucinante raccolta di voci di internati in manicomio. Il più che sessantenne Franco Francavilla per la raccolta Le terre della sete, coerente immagine di impegno politico e meridionalistico. E il settantenne Pietro Bizzardi, noto pittore naif, che pur essendo semi-analfabeta debutta come narratore con un titolo significativo, Mi ricordo ancora. Grande consensi ha ottenuto la scelta di Pietro Nenni per il Premio Internazionale Versilia, un doveroso riconoscimento per i molti decenni nei quali l'azione del politico è stata accompagnata e sostenuta da quella dello scrittore e del polemista. Non meno calorosi consensi per Paolo Grassi, al quale è andato il premio riservato al presidente della giuria per il libro 40 anni di palcoscenico, un libro che in qualche modo istituisce un parallelismo tra mezzo secolo di teatro e mezzo secolo di letteratura. Lo stesso Paolo Grassi, ricordando quanti validi scambi ci siano stati tra il piccolo teatro da lui fondato a Milano con Strehler ed i maggiori letterati del nostro tempo, ha detto che il premio assegnatogli gli sembra un indice positivo proprio perché in qualche modo ripropone la necessità di tornare alla comunicazione tra le arti, ai tempi in cui i pittori e i letterati andavano a teatro, i teatranti seguivano la letteratura, la musica e la pittura. Gli artisti delle singole discipline erano, insomma, attenti verso tutte le altre forme espressive. Del resto, il premio Viareggio nacque quasi 50 anni fa proprio con la partecipazione di alcuni pittori ed è per questo che ogni premiato riceve anche un quadro d'autore. Le cernie sono state le vittime più numerose dell'ultimo campionato europeo di pesca subacquea che si è svolto nell'isola di Ustica. Fin dalla prima giornata i risultati potevano darsi per scontati. L'Italia si è guadagnato il primo posto, seguita dalla Francia, dall'Inghilterra, dalla Spagna, dalla Jugoslavia e dalla Bulgaria. L'Irlanda si è piazzata al 7° posto. L'italiano Claudio Martinuzzi con 12 prede e 66 kg e 875 si è conquistata la medaglia d'oro e il primo piazzamento. Lo spagnolo José Aminguan con 15 prede, il secondo posto, seguito dall'ex campione del mondo Jean-Baptiste Escapé con 22 prede. Poi ancora un italiano, Milos de Juricic di Trieste. Al quinto posto lo jugoslavo Zanchi Franco e al sesto l'inglese Peter Crawford con 7 prede. L'Europa quindi per i prossimi campionati mondiali può contare su 3 fuoriclasse che in realtà emergono pari pari dalla classifica dei campionati europei, cioè l'italiano Martinuzzi, lo spagnolo Aminguan e il francese Escapé. Non c'era il sole quando Amleto Zanetti, pilota collaudatore della Caproni Bizzola, approfittando di una leggera schiarita, ha deciso di alzarsi in volo con il Califa 21S Jet. Anche senza sole il volo è andato benissimo ugualmente. Rispetto al suo predecessore che si chiamava sempre Calife ma con una sigla diversa, quest'ultimo nato ha la presa d'aria regolabile. Il jet di scarico viene ripartito in 2 uscite di spinta che si trovano affiancate ai lati e sopra la fusoliera, così che si evitano tutte le interferenze con il terreno. La spinta fornita dal reattore TRS-18 della microturbo è di 90 kg e permette all'aliante la completa autonomia di volo sia in partenza sia per fare quota. Il basso costo dell'ora di volo qualifica il Califa 21S Jet per l'addestramento dei piloti, ma è anche un velivolo che si può impiegare per la rilevazione dei tassi di inquinamento dell'aria e della sua temperatura, perché, fermato il jet, le apparecchiature non saranno disturbate o influenzate dall'inquinamento appunto del reattore. Infine, alcuni dati tecnici. Può portare 2 piloti, la velocità massima è di 260 km/h e quella di crociera di 220. A jet acceso può decollare su erba in 700 metri o su pista in 250 metri. Ha una velocità di salita di 4 metri al secondo. Il Calif, progettato dagli ingegneri Carlo Ferrarin e Livio Sonzio della Caprone Bizzola, è un'altra delle espressioni del lavoro italiano d'alta qualità.
Con questo servizio sull'aliante Calif abbiamo terminato anche questa edizione di Panorama Italiano. Paola Perissi e Giacomo Giachetti vi salutano, dandovi appuntamento per la prossima settimana. Arrivederci.
Yeah, so we have more of those. Those actually came from a different source. Those came from Greg Pierce, Oregon Archive. He dropped off a bunch of them. And so what this means is that we have the French ones. We watched all the Toute la Bande, and we got all those from University of Oregon. They were getting rid of them. And then we got, and so as part of that, we got French, German, Spanish, and then we got these Italian ones. So if we have Swiss, Belgian, I don't know, we'll see. All right, let's learn about the urban campus. This is another one from Oregon Archives, which is based in Pittsburgh. And so this is about University in Pittsburgh.
I'm the only one that has gone to college. So I guess I'm like first generation college student.
When you see it the first time, I mean, you really get a feel of, well, some of the forces that we have to deal with. I mean, Pittsburgh is the Steel City.
We are a greater university on the national and the international scene because of our presence here in the city of Pittsburgh. This is our habitat, our environment of support, it's our cultural platform, it's our social obligation as well, and it's our laboratory for the study of urban affairs and other problems of this new society.
priorities, higher education. And we have to fashion those, I think, for the University of Pittsburgh. And they may be unlike the priorities that are established at other institutions.
Agreed.
And I think where we must go with that is to examine precisely what that question says.
There's an exciting development in this conversation. And the term that Burkhardt used, intellectual free space, I think epitomizes what we're talking about. And it's sort of at the core of the discussion here at this stage.
I think that beneath the kind of discussion we've had, we are being pressed to seriously examine the myths that have influenced our behavior over time. What are we doing when we try to teach? Are we trying to transmit the past or control the present?
You understand that?
With this question that you just asked me, you know, I would have to sit down and think about it a little bit longer than just say, you know, you hit me with it, and I just couldn't say yes or no right away. I mean, I would have to go back and just think about it and then say measured against my values. Maybe my values say that no one could take a life. But
where do you get that from?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I think there are some values that are absolutely basic and that they're absolutely valid.
All right. Some people will say that is an archetype of sorts, that it's a universal basic true thing. Now, what blackness is about to me is trying to find or develop such a set of values that adheres to whatever those truths are, and that's what truth is.
I got a little bit fooled by taking a Black Studies course. I have taken 18 credits, and that's pretty much of a load. So I wanted to take something that, you know, would be interesting, but wouldn't be a lot of time and might be an easy A, but I got a little bit fooled on that.
But Thru was in jail because he wouldn't pay his taxes that supported an unjust war. I can't understand how something like that would happen. Henry David Thoreau is supposed to be one of our great writers, and yet here he was saying all these things about don't pay your taxes, and a just man can't live in an unjust society.
Because it was the man's ideas. I think that the real revolution is a revolution that has to do with a revolution of what human beings are, their inner selves, who they are, what they are.
First time I've really got to sit down and listen to what black people have to say, you know, exactly how they feel about things. I'm glad I took the course.
When American universities made a commitment to expand its clientele, then it inevitably came involved in a re-examination not only of the processes of education, but the purposes of education. Are we trying to impart information or elicit criticism? Are we trying to nurture an elite or make all men equal? Are we trying to cultivate minds or men as well? Shall we take as our subject man universal or man in particular? I think that the University of Pittsburgh, getting specific, means many things to many people. I sense the students are not only pressing us and challenging us in terms of what we say we're about and how we behave, but some are pushing us beyond that point and questioning the very legitimacy of the university in our society.
I think universities in the last century have been based on what the faculty want and what interests faculty. I think that it has been perhaps 8 centuries since universities have really addressed themselves to what students want and to what society needs.
When I was an undergraduate, I was very fortunate in that I had the opportunity to explore many different areas as far as picking something that appealed to me. And I got interested in the environmental health program and started here for my master's in water supply and pollution control. But the more I got into it, from the technical side, the more interested I became in some of the other aspects of it that one doesn't necessarily think of firsthand when one thinks of pollution.
Teaching and research have been traditionally objectives. Public service is a new concern. Is public service a third mission, a third leg of the stool, or is it an attitude toward and an approach to teaching and research, which is our traditional mode? The answer to that being that public service, yes, but public service is a criterion by which we measure the impact of our teaching, the impact of our research. And so the suggestion here is that rather than make it a competitive third mission, that it be the yardstick by which we carefully scrutinize the traditional missions.
You've already said very reassuring things before on this question, Wes, but I am an alarmist in what is avowedly a matter of increasing social justice and what in effect may be a matter of diluting the quality all the way through and providing poor service to those in the community whom we are avowedly going to help.
I think that we are committed to reconciling the relationship between quality and social justice in an utterly harmonious way.
And if we're to be a great university, it seems to me that we must do that.
So this comes back to reinforce our original point, and that is a liberal education properly perceived and defined is the most relevant kind of education of all.
Actually, I started out somewhere else and came back home and ended up at Pitt. I wanted to change to a more academically oriented school, and within my limited budget, the only thing I could really go to was Pitt. And I lived at home mainly because it was a lot cheaper, and I really couldn't afford to live anywhere else.
Even a number of people, I'd come in the shop, and you see that they're wearing a school ring or something. I don't know if it's important, but it's like everything else. Maybe you'll put it away someday, but at least you'll have it.
I think part of the class ring bit was that my father never went to his prom. And I think he feels bad about that, and this is his feelings towards the whole thing are a little ambiguous. On one hand, he thinks that, you know, Pitt's full of communist professors inspiring all their kids to do all these anti-American things, but on the other hand, I think he does have a tremendous respect for education and what education can do for you.
My parents always stressed to me, the only thing that can hold you back is yourself. And all you have to do within certain limits is set your mind toward a goal, and you can achieve it. Even though there are always people who are more intelligent, who have better, let's say, mechanical skills, or better physical skills, what have you, you can be an achiever provided that you put your mind to it. And they always encouraged me to kind of find myself and to achieve the highest level that I could. Maybe we should take this thought of an ethnic studies program into consideration when we are considering planning for the university, because obviously this is going to take some resources, and we've already established the fact that we have to be careful how we allocate our resources. Now, if in fact we decide that this is one program that we want to develop, that's fine. But getting on the Board of Trustees was a rather unusual thing. I was here in summer school, and I saw an article in the Pitt News, which is our school newspaper, that said the governor was naming a student to the boards of trustees. So what happened was I wrote up a resume and a descriptive letter about myself and submitted my own name. I think what my major selling point was, I just felt that I could really tell it like it is.
Yeah.
Because I'm a woman in the health professions, you know, and she was explaining her thing. Now, apparently there's a great deal of confusion.
One of 6 courses I have: anthropology, statistics, jazz appreciation, a black studies course, racism and capitalism. I have a history course, 20th century Europe. The course I like the best is the Europe in the 20th century. This is by Professor Kolodny.
The great powers still face an extraordinarily explosive issue at the crossroads of Europe, Africa, and Asia. How are you to see this in the light of this course? I would suggest very much in the same way that you may want to look at Ireland. First of all, that the partition of the Holy Land was the consequence of rather shabby politics of World War I. As you all know, the Balfour Declaration is dated 1917. The Irish uprising is dated 1916. You could call it Kolodny's Law if you wish. Historical folly is transmitted unilinearly through time, so that one generation suffers for the political folly of its fathers.
I'll be the best educated bike repairman in western Pennsylvania.
There's something to be said for experience. And I base my opinions on that, and Dan bases his on his education, so sometimes we don't agree.
You know, I guess I could idealize myself as being a professor, distributing all this knowledge to all these different students. But I don't know if I'm dedicated enough to be the ultimate intellectual.
I have a very logical mind. Whether I'm planning a dinner or sewing a dress or work on a dissertation or think about the university problems, I do it by refining the problem to the best of my knowledge and then attacking it in logical steps. This verse is flow.
See, the whole purpose of what we're trying to get at is to be able to judge how much treatment the different municipalities and the different plants have to apply to achieve a certain level of nitrogen and phosphorus control in the river.
Right. And
Okay?
if in fact that control is even necessary. I mean, if in fact they even have to provide treatment.
That's right, if it's necessary. Or if in fact certain plants will have to do anything,
right,
because their contributions to the nitrogen and phosphorus levels in the river are very small compared to some others.
And we can only assess the contributions once we can have confidence in our physical description of the river, which we're working on right now. Well, Mr. Brinsko, the reason that I'm here today is because I'm doing my doctoral dissertation on the Ohio River between the Point and the Pennsylvania line regarding nutrient loading, nitrogen and phosphorus. And of course, Alcosan is a major discharger along the stretch of the river. So, consequently, I'm going to need some information from you as I carry on this project.
Let's take a look at the effluent here first of all. Here's one of the passes of the aeration tank. The material, once it does settle in the plant...
I'm convinced the solution to pollution will be an economic one because, you know, it's all part of the free enterprise system. And even though economics is not my area, I really realize the power of the dollar. We're just beginning to realize that there are costs associated with the quality of life. How much is it worth to have a mass transit system, which means that you can get in and out of town rather quickly, but you give up the freedom of your own car? How much is the freedom of your own car worth? You know, we're talking about the quality of life.
Well, my philosophy is that the economic structure sort of dictates what the social structure is. I feel that the problems that we're faced with, racism, unemployment, pollution, are all outgrowths of that system. And if we work...
What are the basic problems of our time? What are the problems of this particular society in terms of the way in which we structure our foreign policy? What are the problems of war, aggression? What are the problems of poverty? And I think these are the kinds of things that frequently, when they are developed in the university, are put down in terms of, well, these are grandiose. How do you possibly project in terms of these kinds of things? And yet, as you were saying earlier, the people I talk to in industry are raising these kinds of questions about ecology and the environment, and we sit around...
Marcia, there's an additional dimension to that, and let me suggest it. And that is, Ed, I heard you say that we're not a community college and we're not a college and so forth. Yes, we are. That's what a university is. We should be able to do everything that every other institution in the society does because what we have are particular kinds of resources that they do not.
You raised the question, Brian, about what is the relationship between the university and society. Is it, on the one hand, supplying particular needs of the community, or do we feel that we occupy a different role in terms of leading the way to see what the basic problems of our particular time are?
If people are asked whether if they could be something else besides a person, I always said I wanted to be a fish instead of a bird. Most people, you know, would like to fly. And so I think one thing that affected me is the fact that I think our waters are being abused to an extent, that we're not utilizing them to their fullest capacity as far as the range of options we have in using our waters. And I had a technical background, and so it just seemed like the natural thing to go into. I didn't, when I started into it though, I had no idea I was getting into it so I would get into it so extensively regarding some of the political and economic ramifications of water pollution. It is in fact true. It's not really very glamorous, and you deal very closely with such problems as sewage.
What I'm doing right now is typing a paper that's due tomorrow. And, you know, there's the pressure of getting everything done on that deadline. I have another paper that's due next Saturday. I have a test next Wednesday. I have another test next Friday. And I have a take-home final that's due on Saturday. It's been a long, hard road, and I've been going to school for 4.5 years now. A friend of mine, who's been active in the Y for a long time, came up with a part-time job with them last year. And part of his job was being coordinator of this Little Braves program, which is a fatherless boys program.
Go get your big braves and bring them over here, and we'll...
And I was a little hesitant at first to get into it, but he invited me to one of their meetings, and as it turned out, I just was won over by the little kids that were there.
Put a set of keys right in
There was an
front.
opening, so I just sort of slid into that opening, and as it turns out, I'm really happy with it.
Hey, John? If you want to take the car this morning, that's okay. Just leave it for me. We met here at the university when we were undergraduates. We were married when I was halfway through my master's degree, and he was finished with his first year of dental school. Hey, John? I think we're lucky in the sense that both of us would need a minimum population, you know, in order to find work. So that we're looking towards settling in a large area, in an urban center. And that decision will be a mutual decision based on his opportunities and my opportunities. We'd have to consider both.
Right now, there's an opening for a program director, and I hope that if they're going to hire anybody to replace that fellow, they'd hire me. I really don't envision myself as 9 to 5 riding a streetcar with a suit every day.
The most important thing any person has to face, whether it's a man or a woman, is the fact that they have to make themselves happy before they can make other people happy. And then I have my own set of criteria which kind of makes up a good person. You know, someone who has time for other people and who, you know, shows basic human kindnesses. And as long as I feel that I'm fulfilling myself, then I think that's the most important thing.
This is the first time that I've ever done anything in my whole life that it really made a difference that I was there. I think if I'm gonna do anything, this is the best thing that I can do. Like I think it was Thru said, you can't have an honest man in a dishonest country. Something like that. You know, all of us have, well, we have to work within the system somehow. So this is my alternative to being a 9 to 5.
What we have to do is to address ourselves to the problems that face our society and to liberally educate our students with regard to the operation of those problems.
That may or may not be a liberal arts curriculum or a professional.
But well, what I'm suggesting is that is a liberal arts curriculum.
That is not a dichotomy.
It's not dichotomous.
But it certainly wouldn't be the traditional model of liberal arts curriculum.
Whether it has to do with our involvement in community service or whether it has to do with our involvement in strictly internal academic concerns, there is some envelope of resources within which we must deploy all of our talents. And we can't do everything, even from an internal point of view, that might seem educationally, academically justifiable. We will have to make some difficult choices.
It must be ruthless.
Yeah.
In identifying,
we have to do what other people have
programs that are substandard.
I would, however, hope that when we do it, that what we keep in mind is the human concern when we make those choices.
Let me return to the concept of this university as a prototype, devoted to quality as it is, being outstanding as it is, also oriented towards serving its constituency and being a part of its constituency. Now, this university, unlike almost any other I can think of, is in some of its parts a de facto regional planning institution. We are a quasi-governmental agency because regional thinking, regional planning can and should take place here for the megalopolis, whereas it can take place feasibly nowhere else in this region. And to me, that's a very important responsibility.
We recognize our responsibility in the educational system here in Western Pennsylvania.
Hello, Tony. This is Dan Lopez from the YMCA.
We welcome and encourage community involvement. We're becoming urban in kind of a pure sense. I mean, it's not just that we're a college located in a city or a university.
The university, because it is more stable and at the same time more independent than governments and corporations, can become, and I think will become, the creative eye for the new society, for its communication systems, for its social patterns, for its new political and economic structures. We shall be in the center of the transformation of American society, and we cannot escape the duty to lead rather than to follow. And this, I submit to you, is the keynote of the next major stage of advancement of the University of Pittsburgh.
Great. I was looking closely at the credits because sometimes George Romero shows up in some of these films. These are late 60s, early 70s films. Him cutting his teeth, paying the bills. He did not show up in this, but I do have other films that he did. Unfortunately, I don't have soundtracks for them, where he did profiles of sports celebrities. I think in the Pennsylvania area, but so I'm looking at comments. Miss Cynthia says that was the most pointless film Skip has shown. I challenge you on that. I have shown many more films that have been pointless. That one might be pointless in the context that it seems like it has something serious to say and maybe falls short, but yes, I've shown many pointless films, and there's many more pointless films to be shown. Maybe I will show some tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching today. Yesterday was a nightmare as far as technology goes. Today, a little bit better. Knock on clown faces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the 24/7 stream, let it run for a little while here on YouTube, but then it's going to go back over to Twitch. I'm going to stop running it on YouTube. So let's see if this works. Thanks again. Support us via the Super Thanks, patreon.com, ko-fi.com. You can email us suggestions at skip@avgeeks. Go to twitch.tv/avgeeks to see the 24-hour streaming show, and we're going to try to let that go. Now, the caveat is this. They might disconnect my internet at some point in the next 24 hours. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Grease. I hate it. When you make something special, grease seems to get everywhere. But with new Dawn dishwashing liquid, grease doesn't get to you. Look, Dawn's in my dishwater. I'll add half a cup of strained beef grease. See how Dawn gets hold of grease? Clears up the water. Dawn helps get grease out of your way. Away from your hands, pots, dishes, and glasses. New Dawn gets to grease, so grease won't